Assalamu alaikum to all of my students. Hope you all are fine. Today I am going to discuss paper B, Introduction to Macroeconomics. As in paper first, Microeconomics, we study the behavior of individual units like consumer, producer, or we can call firm, household. Means we study how consumer allocates his income by purchasing different goods and services at the marketplace in order to maximize his certification. Similarly, producer exercises his choice while using his inputs like land, labor, and capital in order to produce given level of output so that he can maximize his profit. As consumer and producer, where they met, that we call market. Like consumer, yes, maximize his certification, maximize his certification. Similarly, producer by exercising his choice, utilizing inputs like land, labor, and capital to produce given level of output to maximize his profit. Maximize his profit. Place where this producer and consumer met, that we call market. Market. In market, price of the products is determined. Price of products is determined. Determined for consumer, and price is determined for producer factors of production. Factors of production like land, labor, capital, like land, labor, and capital. And in this we call commodity market. This we call factor market. Factor market. Price of both commodity market and factor market is determined at market. It is these concepts we read in microeconomics. Now today we will discuss macroeconomics. Macroeconomics. Macroeconomics, in macroeconomics we see the behavior of an economy as whole. As whole. As whole. Now we see the behavior of economy as a whole. Generally focuses upon the rational use of scarce resources, as is the problem which every economy faces, be it microeconomics, be it macroeconomics. Rational use of scarce resources. What we call rational use of scarce resources? It means using resources properly. For example, using resources carefully to maximize gains and minimize minimize waste minimize waste, or utilizing employees in proper manner by providing them training enhancing their skill so that they can provide maximum level of output. This we call rational use of management of scarce resources. And using resources properly, using resources carefully, maximize gains and minimize waste. Or one point we can more add up. Yes, proper utilize of time, proper utilize utilization of time. That's also one of the key resource. Time means rational use of scarce resources. The problem is other problems which macroeconomic face, key central problems like uh, yes, overall employment, overall level of employment, overall level of employment. Second, growth of national output. Third one, stability of economy. Stability of economy. Not only these key issues we are studying in macroeconomics, but we also study aggregate demand. Yes, aggregate demand, aggregate supply, aggregate supply. How aggregate and demand, aggregate supply balanced or balanced means how full employment level of how full employment is level of employment is reached. Yes, as it is not necessary in while studying macroeconomics the concept of aggregate demand, aggregate supply. It is not necessary at aggregate demand every time aggregate demand is aggregate supply in equilibrium point. But sometimes adverse happens that aggregate demand remains greater than aggregate supply, or sometimes aggregate supply remains aggregate demand. Or these situations, when these situations happen in the market, definitely these situations lead to, for example, excess demand, or they will lead to deficit demand. Deficit demand means when these situations happen at the market, excess demand or deficit demand. For example, this excess demand and deficit demand at macro level will create inflationary gap or deflationary gap in economy. Inflationary gap and deflationary gap in the economy. To solve these problems, two key tools are utilized, like monetary policy, monetary policy, yes, physical policy. We need to combat or to correct the inflationary gap or deflationary gap. Monetary policy or fiscal policy is utilized so that economy will reach its point of equilibrium. Not only we try to understand or read these variables in economics, macroeconomics, we also try to understand foreign foreign exchange, yes, foreign exchange, balance of payment, balance of payment. What is the impact of these foreign exchange and balance upon domestic economy? And what is the impact of foreign exchange rate or balance of payment upon domestic economy? These all are the key variables which we try to understand in macroeconomics. Conclusion line, if I will draw related to micro and macro economics, that is, in micro, we should be aware of, we should be behavior at individual level, but in macro economics, we should behavior of whole whole economy. It's a conclusion line. In microeconomics, is the behavior of individual units and at individual level. As I tell, consumer, producer, firm, household. Similar at micro, we see the behavior of economy as a whole. Like I tell, aggregate demand, aggregate supply. Yes, employment, employment level, foreign exchange, balance of payment. Means this was an introductory lecture of micro and macroeconomics. I think it is enough for today. In next lecture, I will discuss key measurements of national income. Till that time, you have to wait and watch. I will be return back very soon. Hope for the best. Take care. Thanks. Have a nice day.